Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Shooting Off at the Mouth. Today I want to speak about a topic which has occupied us a lot for the last several years, maybe several decades, but in the last few years it has occupied us a lot. It deals with our freedom of speech and expression, which I think is a very valuable right. In fact, I believe it's the bedrock of many of the other freedoms that we enjoy. And the exercise of the right and the state of health of that right. Now I'm going to open myself up for criticism because today I'm going to briefly tell you why I believe that we as Indians do, to a very, very large extent, enjoy this right. And contrary to those of you who may have heard some political opinion of mine, I am not going to assert that the right to freedom of speech and expression is not alive and well. So what is this right? It is the right to criticize the government in general, politicians in particular, to criticize the actions of the government, to critically evaluate them, to critically evaluate the actions of people in power, judges, bureaucrats, political figures, public figures even, and basically to say not very flattering things about them. This is the nature of that right. Now, one thing is clear, that to our quasi-oriental sensibilities, the right to be rude doesn't come easy. As an Indian, my tendency, my instinct is not to be rude and offensive. If it means shading the truth, I'll shade the truth. If it means outright lying, I'll lie also. I'll tend not to be outspoken, tend not to be brash. But nevertheless, this freedom has been vouchsafed us under the Constitution. And slowly we and our countrymen have acquired a taste for exercising it. So notwithstanding our reticence, our unwillingness to call a spade, to refer to a death as a passing away, he expired, she expired, despite that, this right of calling a spade now and critiquing people in power has taken root. Now, the question is, how freely are we able to exercise this right? Now, if you see the vast gamut of public speech, by that I don't mean just speech, the spoken word, but more and more the written word. And let's be honest, it is increasingly irreverent. It uses words which even would make me blush. It is often humorous, almost always sharply critical, and mercilessly excoriates the subject which is under discussion. So this freedom is being exercised very widely. People are saying all sorts of things about all sorts of other people. This includes from the Prime Minister down, and cracking jokes, lampooning them, having bearded figures or short squat figures as characters in a joke or a cartoon. All these tend to excoriate those people in power. And it is not far to say that there is a regular lambasting of those people who are in positions of power. Out and out mockery, acidic critic, sarcasm, irony, gentle chiding, songs which make fun. All this thing, is it not part of our universe? Do we not come across it every day? Do we not open messages on WhatsApp If it's a bit too ripe, those with a softer sensitivity might close it. The others might, the eyes might light up and they'll watch the whole thing with a dirty grin on their face. Is this not the daily, the daily thread of our experience? I think it is. And this is the freedom of speech in action. So, whenever people, some leading arts say, oh, freedom of speech is imperiled, I say to them, then do you find this freedom is imperiled? Do you see it being diminished? Oh, but they say, have you seen when Fala said this, that thing happened to him. So what are the things which happen to people who shoot off at the mouth? Well, from time to time you come across, and I've covered this in my immediately previous video, you come across some overzealous bureaucrat police officer minding the fact that another person who would not have been known had he not been the subject matter of a criminal case, that other person has criticized the chief minister or the prime minister or the home minister or some bureaucrat or elected official, and an FIR is filed. Right, FIRs are filed. Have you ever heard of anybody getting arrested? Yes, sometimes they do. But I think those offences are so trivial that usually the woman is released on bail. I have never come across a single conviction being recorded. But yes, this does tend to deter people from speaking their minds clearly. So to an extent, this is a restraint on the freedom of speech. There is another restraint also which comes, which I'd like to talk about, and that is trolling. I say something against the great leader, and many of my correspondents on the ether, who are my friends, they criticize me and they say nasty things about my opinion. I have seen criticism, trolling, where people are pilloried, shouted at, your nationality is checked, is questioned, your parentage even, and you will be chided, and the most offensive things will be said about you. Well, guess what? Tough shit. Remember, freedom of speech in the extreme Western sense started with a definition that freedom is the true freedom, which is the freedom to offend. So if I say something which offends you, you may say something which offends me. So when I exercise my right of freedom, I should be ready to receive as good as I give out. And here I break cause with my liberal friends who will utter the most, maybe genuine, criticisms of persons in power. But when people criticize them back, demonstrate that they have such thin skins as would be pierced by a feather. So the lesson I draw from the exercise of freedom of speech is that what goes around comes around. And if you're a muscular exponent of this figure of this freedom of speech, just a minute. Yeah. If you're a muscular exponent and you say what you will, then you jolly well expect the consequences. If you call somebody an idiot, he's going to call you a fool. If you question somebody's intelligence, he's going to call you an idiot. If he doesn't do it, somebody else will. You cannot then say, oh, but I have been trolled because I spoke the truth. Whose truth are you speaking? Now, this freedom of speech business, as I said, is somewhat deterred by the odd criminal complaint. But I was tempted to have this particular video because I came across two headlines in the Times of India and the Express of yesterday. In yesterday's Indian Express, the lead editorial has this as its headline: Sedition Weapon. Supreme Court promises to interpret sedition law, which is reassuring. Court must settle its contours to prevent the wanton misuse and abuse. Because you know, every time you say something against the state, they say, oh, you are anti-national. You are committing sedition. And they slap sedition on you. There have been some notorious cases of misuse of that, and I completely condemn it. Here is the Times of India of yesterday. The leader comment is a little more forthright. Junk that law, it says. Courts are critically examining sedition. Good news for the press. Even politicians should welcome this. Yeah, right. I heard that one before. No politician of any stripe likes the freedom of speech when he or she is in power. Remember this. So don't have a bleeding heart for one or the other party. As soon as they come in power, they will misuse this law. Which brings me to the last health comment. Is this right in peril? Is this right moribund? Is this right even seriously weakened? This right of freedom of speech? I don't think so. The freedom of speech is being robustly, raucously, funnily, insultingly being exercised every day in the public discourse. Every day. And the modern world of the electronic media, the exercise of this right has become far easier and the reach of expression has become far greater. I would say that the amplitude and the magnitude of this right have increased exponentially in the last decade, as along with the explosion of the internet age, the dissemination of information, the sending out and receiving have become that much more easy. Yes, as I said, there are a couple of hits that this freedom has taken. If you think of her, if you personify her, she's had a few knocks. But by God, she's not stopping running. She's not stopping talking. And she's not done with her work yet. In fact, I believe that this freedom of speech and expression is just about rolling up its sleeves and getting down to the real business, which is yet ahead of us. As society will evolve and modalities of proper freedom of expression will be established as social norms, we will see that the halo around those in power, that aura of virtual invulnerability that some of our leaders seem to carry around will become diminished and will disappear. So, I'll conclude by telling you this. This is my humble opinion. Freedom of speech is alive and kicking. It's kicking those in power in the shins. The exponents of the freedom of speech are also alive and well, but they are having to take a few knocks. But I'll be darned if I let anybody say, oh, India has become such a state that freedom of speech has vanished. No, sir, madam, my friend. I am sitting here saying these things. I have said far more incendiary things in the past. Those of whom I follow on the net have said much, much worse. And they are here to talk to us even now. If it is anybody who is losing, it is the people who want to curb this freedom of speech. They are the guys who are stepping back. Thank you. Have a great week. Bye.